Today, we're going to be talking about the top quiz creation platforms and how to determine the right one for your business. If you are just meeting me for the first time, my name is Anne-Marie Rose. I'm a brand strategist. I help experts, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants to clarify their brand message and grow their business online in a way that's right for them and eliminate overwhelm in the process. So one of my favorite ways to do that is by helping my clients to create quizzes to attract and engage their ideal audience. And that's exactly what we've been doing through this entire Quizness series. So like I said, if you're just tuning in, be sure to catch up on the previous videos in this series because they're really going to help set you up for success. We talk about strategy in 1 through 3, how to really set yourself up to create a quiz that's going to actually help you grow your business. And part 4 and 5 dive into the creation of your quiz. And then today is step 6. And if you want kind of a companion workbook to help you keep track of the different steps and implement as you work your way through this series, I would highly recommend you visit annemarierose.com/quiz guide to download the free workbook that I created for you. Now, let's dive into the quiz platforms. So I did want to mention that, I'll make it a little bit bigger here. I did want to mention that the different factors I believe you should consider as you are thinking about what quiz platform is going to be right for you are what's it like to actually create a quiz on this platform, so that's right here, and what's the quiz experience like for your audience when they go to take the quiz, then of course pricing, and so I'll be covering those for each of the 4 different platforms we'll be talking about. Each of these factors, I'll be mentioning them for every single platform, and then I'll also be following up with what did I love, what did I not love about each and every platform. So let's dive into our first platform, which is Interact. Now, Interact is a really robust quiz creation platform. The only thing they do is help you create quizzes and make sure that the quiz creation experience is awesome for your audience. So I did find the quiz creation process to be fairly simple. There was a lot of options for each of the different questions. So there were a lot of options, and that may be overwhelming for some, but for me, felt okay. I felt that the thing I really liked and felt the most intuitive and likely you would find to be the most helpful is how simple it is to configure the different results that people can get after taking your quiz. So that's something that I know can trip people up quite a bit is, if somebody answers A for question 1 and B for question 2, how do I make sure they get the right result? Well, this was literally a drag and drop format. You can kind of see here how I just said, okay, if they answer this, give them this result. If they answer this, give them this result. And then you keep doing that throughout the different quiz questions, and then people will get the right result rather than having to create some sort of scoring system or anything like that. I felt the quiz experience from a user standpoint to be pretty seamless until I got to the results page. So I did like how the quiz questions transitioned when I was on my phone. But then when I got to the results page, as you can see, this is the actual screenshot from my phone. The results page showed up in like a tiny window, and I'm not sure, I don't have a ton of experience creating quizzes on Interact, so I don't know if this was kind of a one-time glitch or if this is the standard of how the results show up. And if that's the case, I would definitely consider just linking out to an external page rather than using their results page, because it just showed up in a tiny window and then you had to scroll to see more, and it felt really glitchy. Pricing, I'll let you decide if it's reasonable or not, but $636 a year, $89 a month. And what I did for most of these tools is just picked the middle tier or the tier of pricing that I thought would give you the all the features that you would need. So this option did allow for unlimited lead generation and custom branding. The lower plans, you couldn't do custom branding, and the free version, you couldn't do any lead generation. So that, for our purposes in this series, that's not helpful at all for you. So the things I loved about Interact were the templates that they had available. They had so many different templates that you could pick from, and tons of live examples that you could actually go take quizzes and see how are other people in your industry or other mentors of yours using quizzes in their business. I loved it. It really felt like a paint by numbers experience, and there wasn't a whole lot of guesswork involved there. So I really love whenever I invest in a tool and there are already templates ready to go for me. I did think it was, in my opinion, a bit pricey since it's a one function tool. So I kind of have these benchmarks in my own mind for the most part, and there are some exceptions, but for my business, if a tool is just going to serve one specific purpose in my business, I do like to keep it under a certain price point. And then if it's serving multiple purposes, like say I create landing pages and I also can send people emails through this tool, then there's more wiggle room and I'm willing to pay a bit more for it. But that's my personal opinion, and I just wanted to share that with you. Also, I didn't love that you couldn't add question descriptions. So to expand on a particular question, like say, if you were to ask, for example, what's your favorite type of dog? And then let's say the only options you're going to give people are small breed dogs. Say, pick your favorite small breed of dog below. You really couldn't add that second little bit. So, in that particular example, maybe it wouldn't create a ton of confusion, but there are some questions, especially in the quizzes I've created, where you've needed to expand on them a bit, and there just isn't an option to do that with Interact that I could find as I was testing it out. And I actually did walk through and create a quiz on all of these platforms I'll be sharing. So next tool we're going to review is Involve.me. Now this used to be called BrandQuiz.io until very recently. It's now called Involve.me. The quiz creation experience on this platform, just initially getting into the platform itself was a bit overwhelming. This tool has multiple functions, so it's not just a quiz creation tool. And because of that, they do some onboarding to try to point you in the right direction, whether you need to create a form or just a little simple landing page where you can capture leads or a quiz, whatever it is. They give you an onboarding quiz at the beginning to try to point you in the right direction. And I felt like that quiz itself was kind of, just to be honest, poorly written and a bit confusing. But like I said, I know they're rebranding, so that may change moving forward. And I did think that because they're doing a lot of different things, you can do a lot of different things with the platform, just getting in there felt quite overwhelming to me. I did like, though, once I got in there and said, okay, I'm ready to create my quiz, and I'm in the quiz builder itself, I really liked how it was visual, and they had a lot of different icons so I could quickly, I'm a super visual person, so I could quickly see, oh yeah, I need a checkbox or whatever it is, and drag it from the side. So you can kind of see over here how that looked. That's a screenshot from my computer when I was actually creating a quiz inside Involve.me. The quiz experience was seamless and straightforward. So again, I went through to take a quiz on the platform just using one of their example quizzes. There weren't any real live options, though, to go view, how are other people using Involve.me to create a quiz and host a quiz live for their brand. There wasn't that same experience that there was with Interact, which I really liked on Interact, but with Involve.me, I could preview some of the quiz templates that they had. I just wish that they had some actual live examples available for me to check out. Now, pricing was a thing that I didn't love about this tool, because you'll see the next tool that we're going to review does pretty much the same stuff at half the price. So the price increases are based on how many submissions that you want to be able to receive per month. And because this quiz, I do like that this tool does multiple different things. So you could use it to onboard new clients. You could have a lead generation quiz. You could even have a simple lead capture page for, like, say, a wait list for an event you're going to be hosting. So there's a lot of things you could do with it. But if you're going to receive more than 2,500 submissions per month, you're going to need to bump it up even more than this. So, and the beginner the first package first plan only allows you to have 250 submissions. And if you're really serious about using quizzes to grow your list, you're going to rack those submissions up pretty quickly. So for $828 a year or $95 a month, I thought that was pretty steep. What I love about Involve.me, though, was that the building experience, like I said, was very visual, and that you're able to create a range of form-based content other than just creating quizzes. I did find, though, that the onboarding experience, getting all set up and into the tool, was kind of overwhelming, and that it was overpriced for, not necessarily for what you get, but in comparison to the other popular tools on the market, I did find that this one for me, wouldn't be worth the price, because I know other ways to go about getting the same sort of quiz creation functionality at half the price. So that's just my personal opinion. The next tool that we're going to review is Typeform. So full transparency, this is the tool that I use and have used for years to create and host my quizzes. I've also used it for years to receive different to offer different form-based content throughout my entire brand experience, whether it's onboarding forms or even pricing, different order form type things before. So in terms of the quiz creation, it has the back end of it feels like you're completing a document, which has its pros and cons. It can feel a little bit weird at first because you're creating something that's very visual, but you're doing it in a sort of document type of a way. So if you see here, this is a screenshot from the back end of Typeform. And I still find myself sometimes clicking into the actual preview, and then it's nice you have the side-by-side preview, but I find myself clicking into the preview pretty often trying to type right into the questions, but everything happens over here like you're working on a document. And the nice thing about that is that you can format the text nicely like you would format text in a document, which a lot of the other platforms didn't offer much text formatting that I could find, but in Typeform they make it really simple that way. But I will say that the document editing feel can be a little bit weird at first. Then the experience also is a bit document-like. And so from the audience's standpoint, when they're taking the quiz, it's going to scroll upward, which can feel almost a little bit glitchy at first. It's not glitchy, but from just a user experience, it can feel glitchy for the purpose of taking a quiz. Now, filling out a form, it feels really natural for some reason. I think because it's just how our brains are hardwired. If you're filling out a quiz physically, you're going to be going down the page versus if we're taking these quizzes online, a lot of times it's like there's a page scroll or flip type of functionality for some reason, and I don't know a ton about user experience that in that way, so I might not be using the correct language around it, but it just doesn't quite feel as intuitive as some of the other quiz platforms when it comes to actually taking the quiz. And I will say I haven't seen that impact my quiz completion rates at all, but just something to be mindful of. Pricing, in my opinion, very reasonable, $420 a year or $50 a month. And this option does include 5,000 submissions and all the essential functionality that you would need to create a quiz, like the calculator functionality and stuff like that. It's going to allow you to generate unique results for different people. And for my business at the moment, 5,000 submissions, form submissions per month is just fine. I really like that Typeform is affordable and adaptable. It's half the price of the other versatile option that we talked about, which was Involve.me, and it actually allows you for double the amount of submissions, which I think is definitely worth it. But I will say that creating your quiz, Typeform is built for a form first functionality. So they started for the purpose of humanizing online forms, and that's what they do really, really well. So creating a quiz, it's doable on the platform, but it wasn't originally built to do that. So the process of creating a quiz can feel a little cumbersome at first, but I've done it a number of times, and so I can do it really easily now. I just will say that when you get in there, it isn't quite as intuitive as maybe some of the other platforms because it was not created initially to do that, to serve that purpose. And then the last tool we're going to talk about is LeadQuizzes. So LeadQuizzes' parent company is LeadPages. You may have heard of that software before. And the quiz creation experience was super minimalist, so made it pretty easy to dive right in and get started. This tool is only designed to create quizzes for marketing purposes, to just generate leads for your business. So that's what it does. So you're not pointed in any other weird directions when you get right into the tool. It's just like everything's right there, and it's really simple to get started because it only does one thing. And then the quiz experience, so from the audience standpoint, again, it's very minimal, but it is functional. It feels pretty intuitive. The only thing I did notice, this really happens on the quiz creation side of things, but it impacts the quiz experience for your audience, is the inability to add much text to your questions. So descriptions, I think you can add short descriptions, but again, they need to be short. And if you add, images to your response options, you can only add a couple of words to those response options. So you really can't expand much at all on the text, which makes sense because they're meant for you to create. LeadQuizzes' intention is for you to create a quiz to generate leads, and there is, industry standard is that the more text that you have, the less leads you're going to generate because people may get tired of reading and opt out of the quiz experience altogether. But Personally, I found it helpful to be able to add those descriptions, add explanations. I've had people actually request those things from my quiz experience. So for me personally, I really value that, and you just can't do a whole lot of that in LeadQuizzes. Pricing, though, the most affordable of any of these options. If you're purchasing it for the sole purpose of creating quizzes, this is definitely the most affordable route. $261 a year or $29 a month, and that's actually their basic plan, because it's called the Entrepreneur Plan, and it really includes all the essential functionality that most people would need. What did I love about it? That it is the lowest cost, and it's super simple to get started because there are really no bells and whistles. It's just super clear. Okay, let me go pick a template, create it, get it up, get it done, and super simple. But I will say that, one, I did not love that I had to put my credit card in for a 14-day trial. So none of the other platforms required that, so I just wish I could get in and play around with it without having to put my credit card information in. That's just me. And I do feel that it's a little outdated, or just not an innovative platform. You know, everything, it was as if the tool itself hasn't been touched in like at least a good 3 years maybe. So the developers are just like hanging out, not really adding any new functionality to stay on the cutting edge of things. And I will say that with my own experience, purchasing other tools from this particular company, and my entrepreneurial peers have said this as well, the parent company, LeadPages, just kind of has a reputation for being a bit slow to innovate, where others in the industry are constantly looking at, what features can we add to stay on the cutting edge. So I definitely feel that slow innovation, or lack thereof, definitely shows in the experience both creating and taking a quiz with LeadQuizzes. All right, so your next step is just to pick a platform, get in, test some of them out. And by the way, if Typeform happens to be a fit, I do have an affiliate link. You're obviously welcome to just go to typeform.com. But if you would like to support me, I would be so grateful. You can go to annemarierose.com/typeform to sign up and to get a free trial initially as well. And of course, be sure to like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the upcoming videos in the Quizness series. I'll be here with step 7 tomorrow at noon Pacific Standard Time. If you're catching the replay, it's probably already available, so go check that out now.